Go live. We have 12 participants. Okay, cool. Here we go live. So welcome everyone to Layer 5's website meeting. Today is February 6th. If you haven't got a chance to introduce yourself to the community or you're joining this call for the first time, feel free to unmute yourself and say a hi. So I see Geral. So Geral, is this your first time joining this call or you have been here?
Hello, yeah, I've been here.
Oh, yeah, cool. I must have missed you then. So let me share the link of meeting minutes again in chat. So I don't think we have more newcomers on today's call. So with that, we can directly move ahead with today's agenda. So top on the list, we have Shivam on new mesh map page. So Shivam would like to take over from here.
Yeah, sure, Gaurav. Okay. So these are the designs that I was working on. I refined them a bit. So the main goal here is that here, like we have three sections: mainly design, visualize, and here we have the SVGs running side by side, and the content that will be displayed here relating to that SVGs will be present right here. Right now, we don't have a lot of SVGs. We're working on that, and also content refinement could be done. But the main design is this is how the flow will be going on. This was the section that we had in feedback.
Yeah, nice. Oh, yeah. If anyone has feedback, feel free to make a few comments. So there's a couple of things to think about on this particular page as we go to describe the features of MeshMap to site visitors. So this particular section is like as a features section. It's broken down by visualizer, and so we might want to toss an R on the end of that visualize word. But so there's and actually, I know it's misleading in the UI, but if we end up, but the way that we refer to each of those sections is designer and visualizer. And so on the design section, well, I guess I take it back. I guess if you're saying design up above and visualize down below, you could leave those two terms, or depending upon the content that comes, maybe you'd put designer and visualizer, but just something to be aware of in terms of the names of the sections, which, by the way, we're hopeful to eliminate those two independent modes and bring them together at some point. So hopefully,
I'm sorry, I got cut off.
Yeah, no, so something for people to evaluate as you share that deployment preview is I wonder what it would look like if you put on either two sides kind of a gutter, if you will, or like two alleys, so to speak, because it almost, with the top section and that bottom section, the very top, the very bottom, it almost looks like one super long accordion. I wonder what it would feel like. Especially on the white page, you can have a better sense of it, especially if you were changing the background of the visualize of each section to like green with a white text like before. Anyway, try out that gutter if you would. It'd be it might really pull the whole page together. Food for thought. And the other one is, I wonder, as you go, so this is a pretty cool aspect that I don't know that others have seen. So in mobile view, instead of having to drop the images and only show text, what you're doing is showing the images. You still have, I think, the images update on scroll, but at the same time,
They update on scroll.
and at the same time, you still show the text for that particular section, which is pretty neat.
Actually, right now, because of the white background, the images are kind of just being blended into the background. And that's why on the white one, it doesn't look good. And here it looks better.
Yep. Yeah, you might have to change the background color based on mode. But the other thing you might evaluate is whether or not the scroll is too long versus, and I don't know, it'll be easier to tell after you have actual images that you're going to use. You'll get a sense of if you should.
Shubham, I'm looking at the preview here and it's not rendering on my computer. It could just be me, but I can share my screen if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Actually, you're opening a review. This is a really old one.
Oh, that was the old one. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I've shared the latest one in chat.
Okay.
Shivam, do we have the complete design for this in Lay 5 Figma? Both
No.
view and the web.
The design that is on the most recent review, it's not on Figma. This was one that I created directly in Code.
Yep, but there's a section for these designs, and some of the earlier designs are in that section. So if other people have different ideas, I mean, those are most welcome.
And regarding, like, we also had a conversation about getting a dedicated site for MeshMap. And maybe we can give a base dark mode directly to the website, because I guess it would be a kind of a different thing, and it would be better if we make that website directly into the dark mode. And I also have some design ideas in my mind regarding the different feature sections. I'll be putting them into Figma in few days, and maybe by the next week I'll have them working as well. The dedicated design, visualize and collaborate pages.
Nice. Yeah, good. Everybody on the call can see that there's a need for a number of designs, as right now it's just a single page, the MeshMap page, but there are lots and lots of features in MeshMap. And so different things to pull out and highlight. Especially if it ends up with its own site, then it's not just about, anyway, there's quite a few things to design and put up. And so, yep, if you're quick on the draw and think that you want to work on a new site, well, we'll probably talk about it a few times. But that might be something to start on.
Yeah, cool. So Shivam is still progressing on this one. So yeah, so any more feedback for Shivam? And yeah, I do suggest that we should get a design completed for the mobile as well as the desktop view first, so that we can have a good progress. Yeah, cool. So thank you, Shivam. And if anyone is interested in designing more pages and more sections for Meshmap, feel free to signal in a website channel. We'll get an item for you. So next, let's move to next item, which is by Gurpreet on new security vulnerability pages.
Yeah, so about that, actually, the thing is, lately I've been facing some issues while building the application. Actually, I was working on WSL on Windows, and it's not like wasn't building on Windows, so I shifted to WSL. On WSL, it's like quite lagging. The build is taking about 4 to 5 minutes. I discussed it with Ishan as well. He said the like optimal build time is around 1 minute. So he recommended me to like dual boot to Linux. So yeah, I'm thinking of dual booting it now. That's why I haven't been able to work on that lately. But I have a like brief idea like how I'm going to like do the security vulnerability page and the infinite carousel I have been assigned. Infinite carousel I was working on, but the latest commits when I fetched, they like crashed the website. I don't know why. The build was happening, but whenever I open the URL, it crashes again. I think it was because I was virtualizing the application. So yeah, I can't show you the updates on the infinite carousel I have made, but I can like commit them like soon. Yeah.
Yeah, something that might be happening to you there is that the website had a number of package dependency updates.
Yes.
And so if it turned out that, and so as you switch between branches of like the master branch and then the infinite carousel branch, you might have to do a make setup and then do a make site, just because there's, unless you've synced with master.
Yeah, I have done that, but the thing is, I think I was using WSL and like it wasn't using the whole resources of my like laptop. So I think that's why it was like crashing again and again. So that's why I think dual boot would be a better option now.
Gurpreet, I would suggest you like since you're using WSL, maybe just try shifting the cloned repository into the Linux file system, not the Windows one.
Yeah, the live reload is not working there, right?
Yeah, because in Windows it usually gives some errors when you're working through WSL directly to the Windows directories. So just try cloning the repository in the Linux file system, and I guess it will work.
Yeah, I have been doing that actually. But still, the build is taking around 6-7 minutes. I'm not sure why. That's why I think dual booting to a Linux system would be a better option, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you can try that.
So yeah, that's all about from my side actually.
Yeah, and Gurpreet, I have opened your PR and the build preview for the security vulnerabilities. So we
Yeah,
can look
actually this
good.
one is the last one I like showed the last time, right?
Oh.
There are no changes here actually. Yeah.
So like Gurpreet, you can't commit as well, is that right? Or no?
No, actually, the build was like last time when I was working on, I can't like commit because there was a build error, right? So I was trying to solve that, but the whole application was crashing again and again. So I'm like trying to resolve that. If I commit now, the whole application would crash, right? So.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. I was going to tell you that you can, we have a automation for the deployment as well, but then, yeah, okay, makes sense. Fine.
But actually, to Ishan's point, something that I know that I've used as a crutch in the past has been, there've been a few times I've been working on various aspects of the site and I'm having a hard time building locally, or some issue. And and after a while, I can't figure out if it's my machine, my environment, or the code that I'm doing, or the site itself is having trouble. And as a point of verification, I'll occasionally open up a pull request, push the code that I'm working on, and then just see if the deploy preview, if it builds and runs, then that helps me understand that, hey, it's not, the code is okay, but my environment is having trouble. And so anyway, sometimes it's a helpful tool. So yeah. What do we have next? So
Yeah.
Gurpreet-
So yeah, thank you for giving update, Gurpreet. So Suhail messaged in website channel that he'll be a little late. So we'll circle back to him later on. So next up we could discuss, Anita, do you want to discuss anything, or we should move forward with Ayush topic?
I think I'll just like to say that if there are like UI UX designers that you have in mind that you feel have made really great contributions that deserve this badge, you could just suggest the name so I can issue these badges out, because it's still we still have very few persons that have earned this badge so far.
Yeah, you know who I think has, and it just so happens that Gerald showed up today, is Gerald, actually. I think his profile is still active here. If it is, he would be a couple of spots down. No, he would be right here. Okay, so maybe his profile isn't active at the moment, but Gerald, with you showing back up, we might want to slap a UX UI badge on your profile. It's a relatively new badge that was designed by, I think in this case, it was designed by Divine.
Yes.
And oh, there it is. Oh, cool. You can see it in the drop-down filter. But Gerald, what do you say, man? How about a UX badge on your profile?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Lee.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, no, Anita has been, yeah, good. Anita, you've got a customer.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And then just trying to think, are there other folks? Well, actually, so for anyone else who'd like to earn that UX badge, that kind of cool looking pen, Gara was just highlighting an opportunity to do so with those empty mesh map pages, and or potentially to the extent that a new site is created that's dedicated just to mesh map. There's lots of designing to do there. If you get questions about it or not quite sure what designs might be needed or where to jump in exactly, Shivam is the person you want to catch up with. Ooh, the writer badge too. Hey, do we have, okay, so right now, no, that just Mr. Tulupe is carrying the writer badge. Writing solo at the moment. But there's a bunch of folks who've contributed either a blog post or a resource article who've got things in draft and I think are mostly ready to publish. So hopefully we'll have a bunch of people with the writer badge soon. The writing badge, writing. Huh.
Cool. So let's get some badge on some of the profiles. So with that, let's move to Ayush's topic on Lighthouse CI test update. So do we have Ayush? Yep. Ayush, would like to share your screen?
So is my screen visible?
Yep, it is.
Yeah, so just an update about the Lighthouse CI test. So we have integrated this Lighthouse CI workflow, which has resulted in many failures, as you can see here. So I have made some PRs regarding this, which I already merged, and opened some issues also. So one of the issues that I have opened is to fix the content security policy rule reported by the Lighthouse CI. So currently this rule is failing. I was working on this rule for like quite a time, but no, it's a little complicated for me and I was unable to solve it. So currently I have opened the issue regarding this. I will come back to this issue once I solve the other failures. And for now, this rule has been disabled by this peer. So if anyone wants to take on this issue, he or she can. Otherwise, I will come back to this. But please note that this has been disabled by this peer for the time being until it gets solved. The next issue I have opened is to fix the error of unused CSS and JavaScript tools. And this has already been assigned to Nitish. So I hope he's working on it. And if Nitish, you are in this call, that I will suggest you to please seek help on the Slack channel, because on GitHub, in here in the comments, people are not very regular, so you might not get a lot of help. So you should contact maybe Nikhil or other maintainers on Slack for any help if required. So coming to the PRs which are currently open, this is regarding the button name and color contrast error that we get on the 404 file. So this button name error is solved by adding the ARIA label attributes to all the elements which didn't had it and needed a descriptive text. And for the color contrast issue, basically, as you can see on the preview here, this color was previously very light, so it was failing the color contrast error. So according to the Lighthouse, the contrast should be above a definite value for all the text. I think it's about 4.5 or 3. So I changed this color, which was like previously very light. And also I changed this text inside this button return to layer 5 from white to black, as it was failing on that contrast error. And also this subscribe text color here for this 404 file. So any suggestions on this?
Oh no. Yeah. Does that mean, Ayush, does that mean like the get started button? Is it gonna fail the test?
No, it's not. No, it's not failing the disk. So I singled this button out. I fixed everything else and I just left this out for the Lighthouse CI test, and it was passing. So I hadn't changed this here.
Okay.
Yeah, and so coming to my next pull request, this was for the color contrast for the index file. So for the index, which is a home page, this is the deploy preview. So basically this mesh map color, due to this, the color contrast was not right. So I changed it to the, the most similar color, which was previously this cyan. And now this is the most similar color to this, which passes the test. So I had to change this color here. And also like, all this text mesh map, mesh series, SMP and Nighthawk, because that color was failing. So I think maybe would have to also change this icon. I don't know if it's the right approach or not, but this is the closest color which will pass the test. And then this similar that button text color, like here all projects, and this all was white previously, and this was also failing, so I had to change into black. And
Damn.
and this was like very light color, so due to which it was failing. And the last change I made on this page, it was, oh yeah, this subscribe button here.
Oh no.
So
Okay. Oh no. Oh, this is kind of a conundrum, because it's like, it's almost like that. Oh no, we cannot use that green for sure.
yeah.
I say oh no because it's because inevitably we will end up choosing to have an aesthetically pleasing site versus an accessible site.
Yes, it kind of broke the whole UI. That's why. So I think then the other option we have is to disable this contrast error, I think, or not, or leave this back to that and just change the contrast error for the other text, like this and that. But we will have to disable then the contrast test error. because
Yeah.
this will broke. If we want to change this color, this will broke the whole UI, because then we'll have to change across everything, and that's not a viable option.
I'm curious for everybody else. So yeah, this is the reason. Yeah, part of the reason I say, oh no, is because it's like, hey, we can go disable that test, and that's not a big deal. So that's not worthy of saying, oh no. Rather, the concern is that these particular tests, well, that these are factors that weigh into PageRank. So from an SEO perspective, they have some bearing, and I'm ignorant as to how much bearing they have, and how much they affect PageRank. And so I don't know if anybody else, if someone else knows, I'd love to hear it. If that's a point of study for someone, I'd love to see a little bit of research about that. I mean, we could certainly open up an issue about it. It's one of these things we've discussed in the past about, well, going on a journey together, about learning a bit about SEO and some of the hidden, well, not hidden, but some of the rules and the nuances to, well, things like site structure, to intra-page linking, to a lot like that. Like there is a whole practice to SEO, and accessibility, which in this case is the particular item that you're dealing with, Ayush, is contrast and legibility of words as they contrast between the background and the foreground. It isn't, and I think that it's an interesting point, or to me, it's an interesting takeaway. I wonder if an interesting takeaway about the button is that Get Started, it's using, well, a shade of green that we refer to as Keppel green. It's the darker of the two greens that we generally use. And so it's using this Keppel green, but it has a white Get Started. Maybe the reason that it didn't get flagged in the tests is that Get Started is using a font weight bold, or I think it's about a font weight of 500. And so maybe because it's bold, that's the thing that offsets it enough and gives it enough of a contrast, as versus the other green buttons that use white. If we take a quick look, so this one would have had white. You can imagine it's a little more difficult to read because it's skinnier. So I don't know if that's but I'd be interested to learn some of those details.
So what I can do is can then again isolate all these buttons, or do a research on, if this Lighthouse takes the bold value into account, because on this contrast arrow website, it just, checks against the color. It just checks against the color. So it has two criteria for large text and small text, and it just sees that for large text, the contrast ratio should be greater than for 3, and for small text it should be greater than 4.5. So I will try to isolate this and see if it passes the Lighthouse CI test, do some research that if the Lighthouse takes into the boldness into the account.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that'll give us some boundaries to work within, because there might be, because some of the other changes that you've had to do are taking font that or text that we've had in gray as a way of pleasing the eye. The lighter, gray is harder to read on a white background than black is. Although, yeah, understanding those particular parameters of where the cutoff line is, so to speak, for what passes and what fails, that will help us be creative. Because if all it would take is like to make the font weight bold and leave it white on the green buttons, then maybe that's an acceptable trade-off. So
yeah, so I think this PR for the index, this can't be like merged for now. It has more to work. But this for the 404 file, I think this can be merged because this just changed this, this white color in the inside the text to black, and this it doesn't changes anything here. This color. So I will open more issues and pull requests regarding it. And hopefully by the end of next week, most of the tests will be passing. So uh, that's it about my issues. Thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Ayush. That was a great update. So we have Suhail joined the call. So Suhail would like to share your screen on your topic.
Yeah, hello.
Suhail, are you sharing your screen? Okay, cool. You're on mute, Suhail.
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the layer 5 website, if you see in the integration part, there are a bunch of filters over here. So the task was to convert this bunch of filter into a carousel view. So the issue, so I have made a PR related to that, and I think I have done from my side whatever I had to do. So I think it is ready for merge. So if there are any suggestions, it would be good to know.
Cool. I'm chiming in just because nobody else is, and I have to say I was busy doing something else, and I didn't. Are we talking about the white versus color version of each of these? Oh, you're looking at the infinite You're looking at the carousel looks pretty good. You might have to change the color of the arrows or make them larger, bigger, fatter, more noticeable somehow.
Yeah, I have changed it in the this commit. So the deploy version is not on for the commit now. I have made the commit now. Today
Oh,
evening.
okay. I see. Okay. There's a build that's happening right now that enlarges the arrows. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I don't know. It's looking pretty good to me. I don't know. Like, so a couple of things that you can do to test to make sure that you've got all of your edge cases covered, or is if you navigate all the way to the left-hand side of the filters, or the right-hand side, either way. And what would ideally happen is, it's a never-ending carousel then?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Which is fine. That's fine. In the design, the reason I was going to point this out is in the design, there's a start and stop. Like you can navigate all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And when you do, the left or the right arrow would, when you're all the way to the left arrow would reduce its opacity, basically disable itself because you can't go further. So when you hit either end, it would, but if there's no end, then I guess you don't have to worry about that.
So the reason I have did infinite, so if you click over here and just go to the last filter, so user need to come again over here to change it. So that's the reason I put it infinite.
Yeah. But they can, but wait, okay, wait, now we're going to have to talk about it now that you've said something, because, well, that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, yeah, they always have to, if you click something over here and you kind of navigate away, you got to kind of click to go back, and and it's a 50-50 chance as to whether or not it's quicker to just cycle all the way through or to go back. So that's probably not the best justification for this system. There's one thing that stands against having an infinite carousel, and that is the all filter. So if people go through and they're like, well, geez, I just want to see them all, or I want to remove the filter I have, they can remove the filter the filter or filters that they have by unchecking them. But if they wanted to go back to all as a way of like let's say that they selected 3 filters, they didn't want to have to go check all 3, they just go over to all and click all. They wouldn't necessarily, it wouldn't be readily obvious where all is, because it's not on the leftmost side. It's not in the starting position. This whole discussion is really not super important. Like it's like, if they really do want to navigate, spend a lot of time navigating and things, they're either going to search to find something real fast, or they're going to click to see all down below and then go to the fully dedicated page to, you know, to have a better navigation. There's 2 things that you might think about as a next step after this, because I think what you have is pretty great. Like, you're going to enlarge in the arrows and we'll probably be all said and done there. One thing about the arrows is, if they're green now, when you went into dark mode, they remained green, which, you know, is probably the right thing to do. There's a lot of white on the page, which I'm going to bring up a separate bone to pick. I have a separate issue with, like, I don't know that in dark mode we should be using white for all the, can you do me a favor and just click on see all and switch into dark mode? And then there's about 16 of us on the call. It would be really nice if everyone that's looking at, if you scroll down a bit. So, all right, so here we are. We're kind of, other than that bug with the Cloud Native Ambassador, if you were to ask yourself, would you rather be seeing white or color here? I'm curious if you all sound off. What would you rather have here? Does white look good? Or do you imagine that color would look better while still in dark mode?
I think light green color with a picture with white background.
Okay, so a third choice of go to color, but to help ensure that there's high contrast between the dark gray background, add something of like a white stroke or a white, like maybe a light radial gradient from the inside of the hexagon. That would be another approach, as opposed to trying to manipulate the SVGs themselves, or as opposed to trying to figure out their dimensions and, you know, add a white stroke to the outside, or what looks like a white stroke. There could be a radial gradient that starts out as light and goes to dark, goes to the color it is now, and you could still use color. I'm saddened that, I'm hoping that more of you will chime in and
I have some feedback.
Oh yeah, please.
I mean, when I'm looking at Cloud Native logos, I'm looking for their colors. So I know what their colors are. I know what Meshry colors are. And when I'm looking for Meshry's logo, I'm looking across, 50 or so logos, and I can spot that color, and each one has significant, distinct colors. That's just me.
Yeah, like Project Envoy, it's kind of some hot pink, hot purple stuff. You like, instead of trying to read each word of each one, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, my vote is for color, but I just want my vote to count as one vote. We have this, and for everybody else to chime in, we have this same conundrum, or I feel like it's a conundrum, on Meshry.io. Meshry.io has this entire, well, it has 80 of these integrations listed. And it also suffers similarly, or I think it suffers similarly, that it shows all these white logos. And it's just a wall of like white logo that I can't, like my brain can't process. So vote for white and colored if you would. And then also there's only 80 out of the 148, I think, that are represented on the Meshry.io page. So there's a bit of continuous integrate. We are supposed to be automatically publishing all the integrations to Meshry.io. And I know that we are, but they're not showing up somehow, or they are showing up and we're still giving people a static count. Maybe we have hard-coded 80 and maybe we're showing 144 or something. Suhail, since I've taken us down this rabbit hole, do you mind going to Meshry.io so we can have a quick look? Or I can.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe I'll beat you to it. Okay, so on Meshry.io, we're here. You're going to come down. You're learning about Meshry. Too much service mesh stuff, by the way, which Meshry will continue to do. We just need to highlight its other value add. So you get down here, 80 plus. Wait a second, I thought it was like 150-ish. Okay, well, so by the way, yeah, I mean, right, yeah, the color version is, I'm convinced it's so much better. So by the way, if we go back to about 4th grade, at least for me, math tables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7 times 10. Yeah, no, I watched Sesame Street when I was little as well. I just didn't, and I have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I know. Oh, dear God. Was that recorded? Okay. We're missing some integrations here. And there's something amiss because these are supposed to be automatically published. Gurpreet, this might be one of those items that this might be an item for you to take a peek at. Yeah, keep thinking about it. We'll have to. We might want to, Ishan. You might want to call for a poll on the discussion forum or something. Just see present those two options. Hey, here's.
Yeah, makes sense. I'll do that.
Right. Cool. So Suhail, great. Hey, great. It's looking good, man. How you've got the categories down to 1, and a bunch of the rest of the stuff that I was saying, just like, it's just not worth the time per se. I think infinite carousel is probably fine. It is the case that all gets a little lost in there because it's special than the rest. What we would eventually add, if your whole job was just trying to make that the best that it could be, there's a couple of things that might get added. One being clear, like just an easy, instead of having all as a category, which is kind of awkward, right? It would maybe just be a clear button. Like if you've selected a couple of filters, but you want to get back to no filters, it would be like pulling out all separately, maybe calling it clear or something like that. Another thing might be when people do a search, or when they apply a category filter, you can see that under some certain category, there's 6 of these, and it's in parentheses. Well, if you're really paying attention, we are being a little lazy on this count. I believe that this is hard coded, I think. No, it's not. We're just being a little lazy on our math. So this is more like maybe 7th grade math or so. You might learn what, rounding up and rounding down. And so what we're doing here is, I think, fairly greedily rounding up. When I had suggested this before to a contributor, I think my thinking was everybody learned to round up or round down using 5 as like if it's 5 or above, you round up, or something like that. 4 or below, you round down. And oops, I thought we were at like 100 and see, like here, there's no X button to clear my search. So I go like this. If there's 149. So 150 is fine to like, sort of fudge, but we say 150 plus. It's like, oh, geez. And so, I don't know, in this case, we might want to perpetually round down just so that we can perpetually leave a plus sign. I mean, this is me being as picky as I can possibly be, but it is a good mental exercise it's actually fairly easy if you use that logic. If you just say, hey, let's go ahead and round down to the nearest fifth fives place. If that's not a term.
The other way to think about it is it only takes 2 more integrations and you're at 150 plus.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we're going to get there too. And so then the challenge is like when we get to like 156, are we saying 160 plus? So if we were to perpetually round down a bit, we could always leave the plus, which I think a rounded number works better than just explicitly 149. Like, but food for thought. So I'll stop sharing. But I like Colby's thinking. It's like, hey, why don't we just make another integration? Let's get it up to.
Yeah, cool. So we have Gaganpreet join the call. So let's discuss about the uplifting of Mesh docs. So
Yeah, hello. Gaurav, if you can, yeah, the latest one. Okay, good. So, as per the last request, I hope I'm clearly audible, right?
yep, you are.
Hello. Okay. So I have added the pull tab as well for the left menu. If you go to the mobile screen, so you'll be able to see that. And yeah, there's the pull tab that was requested. And also about the, is this the latest one?
Yep. I'll load once again. Yeah, it's the latest one.
Okay, I'll look into the issue then. Also, I've increased the font size for the mobile view. And yeah, the dark mode is also complete.
Nice. Yeah, you have to enjoy the use of those gradients, that soft gradient coming out from the lower. Do we do the same thing in light mode? Is there a bit of a lower left? Or okay, I mean but yeah, I don't notice a gradient happening in light mode, but that might just be Zoom. Not that it's overly important, but yeah, hey, great, nice work on the pull tab. For those that have fatter fingers than yours, you might consider making it a little bit bigger. I don't know. One thing that is maybe if you have OCD, it's kind of a nice challenge, which is if you hit the pull tab again and sort of, there you go. Okay, and you pull it back out. Okay, never mind. I thought at one point it detached itself, or like the two weren't precisely in sync, but I'm having a hard time finding fault. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's pretty great. It's a nice, yeah. Yeah, can anybody else, like, it really bugs me when I can't find fault with it, like, can anybody else find something that's wrong? Oh man, it looks good. I mean, yeah, just like there's, yeah. Anyway, you might consider making the mobile font slightly larger. I don't know. You might take the copy. These are just all nitpicking crap. Like we should go merge this for sure. So, but in the copyright is, I think it's almost in white at in the footer, and it's, not overly important. So if we were to make it maybe the same gray as and then reduce the space between them or something. I don't know. This is just me being extraordinarily, but
Yeah.
That's great. Anybody else have feedback? People have.
I think it looks great.
There's something that is, again, all these things that I'm mentioning are like not Ganganpreet's fault per se, or like didn't originate with her. But one interesting, related to what we were talking about with the colored icons, the colored integrations, if you scroll down and you see the use of different logos in dark mode, a couple of them, and I hesitate to even point this out because it's like, I don't have a great suggestion as to what to do, or even if it's that important to even, look at.
Yeah, I found the reason why we switched to color to black and white. So that was the reason for Kuma logo. So that was bugging us. So we switched to white.
Anyway, Ganganpreet, for you, is it done? Or like you ready to merge?
Yeah, like I see a little bit of just finishing touches, a little bit of fall. So I'll just get done with those, and maybe in a day or two we can merge this.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll message in the Slack when it is ready. Also, I'll look into this issue, like why it is not like getting the whole height.
Well,
The left side up.
And then similarly for the right-hand side, like how come there was that extra space on the right-hand side?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And we could also align this part.
You might just drop the word documentation just to give yourself room back to.
Okay.
Yeah, rest looks awesome.
I mean, yeah. So between Krishna and Ganganpreet, like, oh yeah. I mean, this is a major facelift. This is, oh man. And I'm with, I think Shivam had suggested if a new site is made for MeshMap, for it to be dark mode first. Like, yeah, I think that's really hard to argue against, like dark mode first, stuff like, and maybe that should be the way it is here as well. I don't know. Maybe on all the sites, actually. Something to consider for layer 5 IO. Is it ready to go dark mode first? Meshry IO, the docs.meshry.io. We definitely need to get that stupid video off of here, off of the. I'm serious about that. We shouldn't have that video on the.
And we still don't have.
Gaurav?
Yeah, sure.
You have opened the site on which browser?
Brave.
Okay, that's that. Like it works perfectly fine on Chrome. That's why I was thinking, like, even for that code segment, like the scroll bars, I added style, but it was not working. So yeah,
we can test it on Chrome as well. So yeah, I was just gonna say we don't have a solution for the flash, right? The white flash that we get.
I haven't looked into it, but yeah, maybe there isn't. Because that's kind of a transition between two themes, so it's always there. Like I guess on layer 5 as well, there's a little bit of transition.
Okay. Yeah, so I have switched to Chrome. And let's take a look.
See if you can get any issue. Okay, the height constr process.
Just like, can you scroll down a bit down? Yeah, so can you see the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I heard that.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, this is looking good. So Gaganpreet will be making few more updates, and then we will merge this thing.
Yes.
So thank you, Gaganpreet. So next up, we have a couple of updates on Meshri.io. And I think we had discussed these updates in last call. So Arunima, Yash, or Chinu, so do you have any progressed item on this, or should we skip?
Yeah, I have done a bit progress. I'm just showing it.
Yeah, cool.
So this is how it looks now. I just removed the borders and gave it a shadow so that it looks better. And this is how it is looking. And if you click on here,
a drop shadow, it might be what you're looking for. I don't know. Arunima, it actually happens to you every time. You end up adding a little extra something to improve it, and then that's where you get in trouble.
yeah.
Not that it's not a healthy thing to do to experiment, but you do have a border radius in the upper left-hand corner that makes it look like, you
mean this part?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a slight border radius, but if it's not looking good, maybe I can remove it.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, food. Other people can offer up some
Yeah,
feedback.
we can drop it.
Okay, so I think we can drop the border radius, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else like about this part? Should I remove this background color or let it be?
Let it be for now.
Okay.
Gaganpreet, you don't happen to have thoughts on the coloring here? There's an inner shadow and some border radius. There's border radius just on the left-hand side, but not on the right-hand side. And so, just curious, a penny for your thoughts on the menu.
Yep, it's like it looks fine.
And Arunima, if you would align the menu with the hamburger icon, or just drop the menu text, because the icon itself is showing it's a hamburger menu.
I couldn't understand what you are saying. Like, what change are you talking about? Like, can you please explain?
Yeah, you could drop the menu text from the hamburger.
Okay, so I can remove this menu text, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Also, like that submenu opens only when we click on the plus icon, or the whole commentary, like the whole
Okay,
block.
so initially it opened, like for now it opens only when we click on the plus icon, but in this PR I worked on it and now it opens when we click on the text.
Yep, that's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Arunima.
Okay, so let me just sum up the things. So just for after this, I have to work on removing the border radius and remove the text menu because this icon looks fine, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Arunima. So we are 1 minute over. So we have Yash and Chinu's topic. So Yash or Chinu, do you have any update on this?
Yes, I have worked on it.
Okay.
Let me just share my screen.
Cool. Thank you, Chinu.
Just don't capture. Is my screen coming? Is this the I am listening. Yeah, this is the PR I have worked on. If you look at it,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but
it's
is the screen? I don't think it's visible.
Not visible.
It's visible, but it's kind of a freezy kind of a thing.
You might have to
Yeah.
stop and start.
Oh. Is it coming now?
No, it's still the same.
Oh,
Yeah, you might.
no,
In this
I
case,
think that's, yeah.
yeah, you might have to share a link to what you were going to share or something, if that's possible.
Yeah, I'll share on
Yes,
your
yes.
behalf.
Yeah, there's a deploy preview.
So, do you happen to have a pull request or
Hmm.
pull? Yeah, thank you for adding a video. So, any quick feedback?
Oh, no, that's not but I'm sharing in the chat. There's a deploy preview, I think. Yeah, yes. So if you go to the catalog section and open any item, yeah. Now when you click on the copy URL, it's copied as expected. And
Cool.
so that was the thing.
Well, hey, I have to interrupt for a moment and point out that we really need help here. This modal has been in a terrible way for a long time, and a few folks have improved various aspects of it, but it is, well, yes, it is at a point by which it would be better if we didn't have it, if we simply skipped it and went to the full screen, which you can't really see it, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link to the full page, the single page. If we can't get that modal right, or maybe while we're working on getting that modal right, yeah, there's some, we would just directly link to the page. And so, yeah, it's an open challenge for someone to take on. So by the way, for a number of you, if you're on the call and you're not working on something, of those 8 times that we've said today, hey, there's help needed, like there's your chance. So this is a really easy one to get started with. It is a disabling of the modal, or a changing of the hyperlink from opening a modal to just opening the individual page. And then it's an iteration on, well, I don't know. I don't know if we actually need the modal back. Yeah.
Yeah, full page seems much better than what we have on a model. But yeah, again, food for thought. And if anyone wants to take up, feel free to signal in website's channel. So thank you, Chino, for your update. So we are 5 minutes over. We had good updates today on website's call. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll meet you next week, same time. Bye all.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Gaurav, for hosting.